So there are four essential elements to creator's journey. I want to explain to you what they are. These are the pillars that hold up the entire structure of the program. So number one is the live mentorship, the live teaching that occurs with me and other master creators on a weekly basis. Number two is the study of the principles, the ideas that live inside this philosophy, this perspective we call creating. Number three are the practices that you would partake in on a regular basis, daily, sometimes multiple times a day. And number four is the community that you're a part of, that you're engaging in and being supported by in a bunch of different ways, be it live conversation and inside of our Mighty Networks group. Okay, so let's do a deeper dive on each of these. The essential element of the live mentorship, what makes this so essential is the fact, number one, that it's live. You know, you could watch a recording of me being in conversation with people and get something from how I'm being with them and what I'm doing. But when you are present live, your presence is part of the experience, both in the way that you're attending to what's occurring in a different way, because you know that you're on camera and we can see you just as much as you can see us. So you're aware that your presence is having an impact, which changes your attention, and you have an emotional investment because your presence matters and the other people there know of you and are thinking of you and your presence matters. So you're attending differently to the entire experience. You're enrolled in the experience in a different way because it's unfolding in real time. It's not something that already happened that you're now taking account of, but you're present for the adventure of the unfolding. That is the creating experience. Creating is always happening in the present moment. And so your live attendance is what makes the mentorship way more powerful than it would be through consuming it in content. Now, of course, there is still value in the ideas, in the concepts, in the content itself. And that's why the other essential element is the study of the principles and the ideas. So for 15 years, as you've heard me say over and over, I've been doing this work. And through that, I've cultivated an understanding of the way that I create and the way that I help people to create in the world. And I can share that with you, and that's going to have value. And so instead of me waiting to do that until we get to speak live and you ask the question, I've captured all of the ideas that I've been communicating for all these years with clients and the stories I've been telling. And I've put that into audios and videos so that you can consume that outside of our live conversation, so that when we are together live, the conversation we have is built on top of that. It's on top of a foundation of a new understanding that you've gained through the stuff that you've read and watched and listened to in our courses. Okay. And those courses, by the way, it's not just information. It's not just ideas. All of these courses are me sharing ideas with you, perspectives, and actual practices, actual things that you can do. And oftentimes in the lessons, I'm saying, now push pause, go and do this right now, and then come back and hit play and continue. So I'm really walking you through a process in that. And I'm teaching you how to do something, not just giving you an idea that can also shift your way of seeing the world and experiencing it and the way of acting, but also showing you something you can actually do to generate change in you and to have impact in the world, to create what you want out there as well, both internally and externally. Creating something in a relationship, making money out there, or creating some kind of shift internally. I'm always giving you something you can do. In every conversation and in every lesson, you will leave that with something to do. Which leads me to the next essential element, is the regular practice of creating. There are so many practices that I will give you. And by the way, this isn't not like paint by number, and this is the right way to do creating. My whole point of giving you practices is really to help you to develop the capacity and the ability to create your own practices. I don't want you to just take mine and then say, oh, am I doing it right? I want to teach you how to create your own ways of creating. So I give you some examples of that and you work with that, but we're always having a meta conversation about your relationship to that practice, how it's working for you, what you could change about it to make it better and more effective for you in particular. So by the end, everybody at the end of Creator's Journey has a different take on all the practices, because they've learned to not only do these things, but they've learned how to create their own version of that, evolve it, and make it their own. But in any case, one of the major elements in the creator's journey is the fact that you will be practicing things on a regular basis. And when I say practicing, it might look like some journal practice for 10 minutes. It might like looking in the mirror and saying something to yourself. It might look like a meditation practice. It might look like a way of relating to a partner. It may look like a practice of being out in the world, asking for something, all of that stuff, and a million other things it could be, but some kind of regular thing that you're doing that has you get these ideas more deeply, have them come to life in your way of being, become more of a habit of your thinking and your acting and your way of seeing the world. And you are going to be supported in that activity on a regular basis in a number of ways. Number one, we're going to help you do it in a way that you enjoy it and it's fun. So you're going to look forward to it. So this isn't like, oh man, I have to do my creating practices. No, no, no. If it ever feels like that, then it's not in alignment with the creating perspective. And one of the pillars of our philosophy is to do only what you love. And that concludes creating practices. It makes no sense to do practices that you don't enjoy so that you can be a person who only does what you love. So you're going to have fun doing everything, or you're not going to do it. You're going to want to do it, or you're not going to do it. I'm going to stand for that. It has to start there. But in addition to that, you're going to have fun sharing the practice that you're doing with our community in your creating log, which leads me to the last essential element, which is the community, the We Are Creating community. Now, we have an overarching We Are Creating community for everybody, not just the people in Creator's Journey, and you can be a part of that, and you will be a part of that. But when you join Creator's Journey in particular, you're going to be part of a smaller group of people who are committed with their financial investment and their time on a weekly basis to really engage in this practice. And you'll be sharing the things that you do, and you'll be asking questions about that and getting feedback, and you'll be encouraging and acknowledging other people for their commitment to this action and to the challenges that they're facing and how they're meeting that. And that will feel amazing. And in itself is a creating practice. You'll learn about that in Creator's Journey, about how sharing what you have done and acknowledging others for what they've done is a creating practice in and of itself. So your engagement in the community will be a practice. But in addition to, of course, engaging through our app and online, it's also going to be your active weekly engagement with the community in a live conversation. So every single week, in our weekly session, you're going to have time with me or a master creator. You're going to have time for sharing in the large group, and you're going to have time in one-to-one conversation with other members of Creator's Journey. What that does is it creates first, it gives you one-to-one attention and time every single week with and for others, which brings this to life in a very intimate way. But it also gives you a chance to really get to know the other members of Creator's Journey and create some friendships, which I can say right now, you will make friends in this program that you will have for the rest of your life. It happens in every program I've run over the last 15 years again, and that's, I think, largely because the people that come into these programs have such a shared value. They have a certain level of psychological and spiritual growth already that has them have such an alignment and a resonance with the other people that they can really hit it off, and they create a really deep connection. So those are the 4 essential elements. You've got the live mentorship and teaching. You have got the study of the practices and the principles and all the ideas and the creating perspective. You have got the practice itself that you're doing on a regular basis, that you're doing and that you're enjoying doing, and you're doing it because you want to do it. And then you've got the community that you engage with for a way for you to acknowledge people, to create in that way, for you to receive acknowledgement and feedback based on what you're doing. And also in a live conversation sense, every single week, you're in live conversation with another member of Creator's Journey. So those are the 4 essential elements. I hope that makes sense to you as to why I hope you can see now how those 4 things fit together to create one of the most impactful programs in the world. And I look forward to experiencing the fact of that, the truth of that. Thank you for listening. I love you, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.